In this video, we're going to talk about drainage area. So the first thing I want to do is in sizing of pipe. First thing that I want to do is in our layers, I'm going to create a layer and call it 0-FAU-drainage basin. And I'm going to change that to a magenta, just so I can see it easier. I'm going to make that current. Now, we know based on our profile that there is a low point right here. And our high point when we're grading, when we're draining, is over here. So basically, and we know that we have a center line as a crowned section. So I'm going to go from end point to end point. I'm going to type in A for arc, and I'm going to go to the midpoint because there's where our high point is. L back for line. And I am going to go, I know the other thing is the lot is probably going to drain in half. So I'm going to say here to the nearest here. And I'm just visually looking at this and saying, okay, I'm going to split the lot in half, and half of it's going to drain to the left, and half is going to drain to the right. And then I am going to do an arc, and then I'm going to go end point of my arc, and then L for line, and then end point. I know it's going to drain out to a high point here, so I'm just extending this out, and then I'm typing in CL for close. Okay, let me move this. I'm going to grip edit that, and I'm going to click to the nearest here, because I know everything from this line going north is going to drain north. It's not going to drain toward us. All the water is draining toward us here. Okay, so this basically is my, and I'm going to pull this out just to make it a little bit more perpendicular. This is the drainage area for inlet S1. Okay, same thing. I'm going to draw F3 from end point to end point, A for arc to end point, and that's my high point. Okay. So I'm going to go L for line, and I know for the most part this is going to drain out. Depends on which one overtakes. I'm going to assume that we're going to grade this out like this, and CL for close. Okay, I need a little bit better grading plan through here, but I'm just going to assume that these are my drainage. So this area here, I'm going to hatch it just visually. I'm going to select the object. This one here, and just for visual, I'm going to change colors. So I'm going to change that color. I'm going to do 80, I'm going to do 70% transparent. Okay, so the yellow drains to S1 and hatch. I'm going to pick this one, and I'm going to change that to blue, and I'm going to go 70% transparent, and the blue, which isn't a very good blue, at 70, just so it's easier to talk about. So the blue goes to S7. Nothing goes to the manholes because manholes don't receive water. So the next thing that I look at is, all right, so we've got a high point, and now we've got another low point. So all the water in the curve drains to these inlets. So I'm going to draw the next basin. So I'm going to say polyline. I'm going to draw, and you can go right, clockwise, counterclockwise, however you wish. So from the end point to the end point to the end point, I'm doing arc, I'm going to change that to just be endpoints and not intersections. Endpoint line, because we're sending water here, and we know that we're going to send the water to the front, and we're going to assume, I'm going to do an arc that the right-of-way drains to the road. It's just an assumption for right now. Line to here, and arc, A for arc, C for close, CL for close, enter, enter. So now I just need to adjust these to actually fit on our drainage. Okay, so that is draining to S5. Okay, that's the area draining to S5. And we're going to do one more to drain it to S8. Okay, so I'm going to go polyline, endpoint to endpoint to endpoint to endpoint to endpoint to endpoint to endpoint, and I'll show you the other way that I do it. Endpoint without having to do the arcs to CL for close. Okay, and then I come back in here and I click on it, click on the line, and then hover to the midpoint and then convert it to an arc and go nearest like that. Same with this one. Convert to an arc, nearest, like that. And then I hover here near this grip type thing, convert to arc, and nearest to that. Okay, now I've got my drainage basins. I'm going to go ahead and delete these hatches. Okay, all right, now the thing that you can do that I like about Civil 3D, it helps you design using certain software programs, and I'm going to show you one of the software programs, is up here underneath the Analyze tab. You can come over here and go Catchments, Create Catchment from Object. And now I'm going to create the catchment. Read down here, select Polyline. So I'm going to select this one. And then it says, select the polyline uphill end to use as a flow path. I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to escape. I am going to call it S-1 because that's the structure that I'm tying into, S-1. I am going to click on the reference pipe, this button right here, and I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to touch that one. All right. Catchment style, I'm going to leave as standard. I might clean that up. I'm not sure yet. Everything else is standard. I am going to change this. I'm going to leave the runoff coefficient as is. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to click OK. What it does is it deletes my line, and it actually puts in a catchment area. So I'm going to change that style where it says standard here. I'm going to edit that. So I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to edit the current selection. And the information, oh, I'm sorry, the label, I wanted to change the label. Oops. So I click on that and I'm going to change the label, catchment label style. Edit, create, click on that. It pops up like this. So the name says Catchment 1, and notice that it's what layer it's putting on. It's putting it on layer 0. So I'm going to change that, and I'm going to put it on the FAU drainage basin layer. And I am going to change the contents. Okay, so underneath component name, underneath contents, click on that because we use we're going to be using the rationale equation, and we need area in acres. I'm going to leave it as is, but I'm going to hit enter, and then I'm going to pull this down, and I'm going to go 2D area catchment. I'm going to change the unit to acre. I'm going to leave it as that, and then I'm going to push precision is 2, and I'm going to click on this, hit enter, and then I'm going to push this over. I'm going to hit that button there. I'm going to actually write SF for square feet, AC, and we also have a TC equals minutes. Usually in post-development, our TC minimum is 10 minutes. And our C, our runoff coefficient, is based on the impervious area. I'm going to assume 0.70. That doesn't mean 70% is impervious, but it's a good kind of idea. If you look at something and go, oh man, there's a lot of asphalt, or there's a lot of concrete. Concrete has a 0.9 rationale coefficient, and grass has a 0.3 runoff coefficient. So most of this is going to be building and sidewalk and road. So it's going to have a pretty high runoff coefficient. Okay, so I'm going to click OK. We can always go back and modify that. Apply and OK and OK. And notice that it labels it for me. Okay, now I'm going to do that again. So I am going to go to Analyze, Catchment, Create Catchment, Create Catchment from Objects. I'm going to click on this one. This is S7. So I'm going to escape. It says uphill. Go ahead and escape. This one's going to be S-7. I can always change the name however I want, when I want, if I have to relabel. I'm going to change click on the reference. I'm going to click on the pipe. And I'm going to leave everything else as default and go OK. It'll automatically label this for me. So you can also, on this one, you can pull these labels to over here. And I don't like that leader line. So what I do is, I'm going to show you, is on the label style, if I click on the catchment itself, on the label style, I'm going to edit it. And then when it says in the drag state, I'm going to turn it as false, as the leader. Apply, OK, OK. And that gets rid of the leader for me. Okay. On this one, it is going to structure 5. So I'm going to go catchments, create object. I'm going to click on the polyline, escape. I am going to call it S-5. I'm going to select the object. I am going to go OK. All right. I am going to do it again. It automatically starts again. The command is still working. I'm going to select that object, hit escape. I'm going to call it S-8. 8. I am going to pick the object. I am going to pick this, and then I'm going to go OK. All right. Now, all of my things are labeled. I'm going to pull this over. The next thing that I want to do, and the reason I wanted the catchments, is the program allows me to design with storm sewers. Underneath Analyze, it says Edit in Storm Sewers. So I'm going to go ahead and pause here, and then we're going to talk about how to use the storm sewers in Civil 3D to design by, and how Manning's equation works.